This is the fourth day that we are live here at the End FGM update. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi, and together with Tony Mwebia and Antonia Sophia, we will be able to go live and talk about issues regarding FGM in Kajiado County, where we're going to be talking about today. Karibu sana to the broadcast. We are live now as we speak. And we shall be going down to the south of the country today. And I can see that people are joining in. Thank you very much for joining in. I'll just introduce our guests in a while, but thank you very much for joining in. In a few, we'll be talking with the people who will be part of this broadcast. And we'll basically be seeing what is happening in 3 different sub-counties in Kajiado County, which is in the south of Kenya, bordering Tanzania. So welcome to the broadcast today. It's a beautiful day. For those who are experiencing rain, it's a rainy day. So karibu sana. It's a time to just also celebrate the good things that are happening, celebrating the small wins and talking about what we need to improve as well. We are now live on Twitter, on Facebook, and YouTube using the hashtag #NFGMLive. So if you have a comment, you can leave it on the live chats. Please be sure to use the hashtag #NFGMLive, and we shall try as much as possible to respond. Tony Mwebia and Antonia Sophia will be interacting with you on the chat as well. So please find them on their handles, and we will be able to get help if you have any questions. So once again, karibu sana. We shall be interacting with you for the next 45 minutes on video, live chat, and offline. And today you will get updated on the FGM situation in Kajiado County, as I had said earlier. And to put it into context, the county borders Tanzania from Mosiro, for those who know it, which is close to the Masai Mara, and down to Loitoktok, around that area at the foot of Africa's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro. So thank you very much for joining us today. We really hope that you're going to have an amazing show. All right, so we are now just going to head into who we have today on the show. Probably you saw that on the posters already. We are making a difference here, as we had said earlier, and all we want to do is to have a conversation about how we can better make sure that we have better and much more solid conversations in the long run. All right, so in this show today, we have amazing ladies, and to begin with, a gentleman, a veteran journalist, Mr. Kurgat Marindan, and I'm just going to introduce him in a second. And we'll be talking about what works, what has worked, and what he's seen with his eyes in Kajiado County, where he's now working with the Kajiado County update. If I'm not wrong, I keep on confusing that with the Kajiado News update. So he's going to tell us exactly what that is. So for you who is joining in now, karibu sana. We really do appreciate having you here today. We shall go right into who we have here today. Karibu sana. All right, so we have Bwana Kurgat Marindan, who is the Kajiado County Updates. He is the CEO as well and the chief editor. So karibu sana to this broadcast. But as we go on, we also have Selina Nkoile, who is from Kajiado West in Mosiro. Kajiado South is represented by Dorcas Parit. They are still going to be joining this call. And we also have Jedida Lemaron, who is from Kajiado Central. And all have a central role to play. Kajiado County in a nutshell. Kajiado County, as you can see in that picture, it is a beautiful county. We enjoy the view for the Mount Kilimanjaro lovers. And we also have beautiful culture. For those who love wildlife, here we are. We are all covered in that. So we are all encompassing this beauty in the challenges that we have as advocates in different parts of the country. Kajiado County is in the south of the country, bordering Tanzania, as you can see. So you can imagine the challenges that are happening there because the community is one in Kenya and Tanzania. And so you also experience issues such as cross-border FGM cases where girls are either crossing from Tanzania or go to from Kenya to Tanzania to get cut in case the authorities are following up. The main activity in this county is pastoralism, as you can see. So there's lots of movement, and sometimes it's difficult to track these villages as people tend to move a lot. Challenges such as drought sometimes become a precursor to the challenges that these girls actually go through, because when you have no food, then you have to, then some of the parents end up thinking that they should just reduce the number of people to feed, as well as get something to feed the others, let's say. So it's a challenge that is also experienced in this part of the country. Kajiado County, the prevalence of FGM is 78%, which means that 8 out of 10, if you do the calculation, 8 out of 10 women and girls above the age of 15 and 49 have undergone through the cut. And that means, basically, and that's the statistics from KDHS 2014. So we really look forward to the next statistics, but that's what it is as it stands. So karibu sana, today's guest, Jedida Lemaron, who's going to join us in a second. Dorcas Parit and Selina Nkoile. We now have Kurgat on the call already, so I'm going to add Selina as well as what's her name, Jedida, and we will be able to keep on rolling. But before they join in, we'll have a conversation with Kurgat Marindan, who is the Chief Editor, Kajiado News Updates. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's really a pleasure having you here. All right, so just to notify you, if you are watching, or even for the people who are, even for our guests today, we are live, and there is a chat that people are able to stream in their comments directly. So we are also going to broadcast what people are going to be commenting just next to your call, or basically or your images. So in case someone sends you a message on your phone, maybe they saw what you said. All right, right away. On my complete left, yes, is Kurgat Marindan, and I also see Dorcas Parit, who's joining us from the south. Karibuni sana. We are just going to go on and start off. Karibuni sana. We haven't really spoken yet, but I'm really happy to see you here today. I'm just going to go straight to Kurgat, and then I think we will then pave in other people to come in. We are just going to talk about where we are at. What's the history of FGM in Kajiado, like having covered this area for quite some time now. You've experienced the cultures these people have over the years, and you've had challenges with different authorities, and I can just say, I think you've delved into Maasailand for quite some time, and you have lots of things to share. So first question I would ask you is, which parts of the county have the highest FGM prevalence from your experience?
It's a pleasure to be here. I don't know whether I'm clear.
Yes, you're loud and clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As you said, my name is Kurgat Marindan. I'm the Chief Editor at the Kajiado County News. I've been around for quite a while, and have a lot of experience around on matters regarding FGM. As you have stated earlier, the prevalence is about 78%.
Yeah.
That number is very high. It is very, very high. And we have been discussing these issues with you, and I've always stated clearly, fighting FGM in Kajiado is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult because the people who matter, the politicians who have the say in this society, are not part of the fight of this FGM thing. Mm-hmm. So what is happening is these cases are so prevalent. It cuts across the county, but it is common in the south, in an area called Langisim. It has been identified as the worst area That is the area that practices FGM. And surprisingly, that is the area where the governor of this county comes from. And he has never spoken anything about that. It is really shocking. The other place is in those areas of Maparasha, in Kajiado Central, bordering Kajiado West. As you approach that side of Tanzania, those cases are very high there. And entire Kajiado West, cases of early marriages, FGM, they are really high, and nobody is talking about them. So those are that is what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insight, Kurgat. And you've worked in this area for quite some time, considerably. And what mostly prevents girls from being rescued when cut and or married off? Because we've had cases where, yes, we know that the girls. There is a case that was reported, maybe that there's a girl that has not been seen for quite some time. What hinders that?
Yeah, it's a complicated case, Jeremiah. You know, this practice is attached to cultural issues, cultural ties. You know, after the cut, or even before that, you know, children they are threatened that if you don't do this, you are going to be cast. There are also issues about age mates.
Yeah.
If you have a daughter who is enough to undergo through this FGM, if you don't bring your child, your girl out there, you stand to be kind of cast. So people, you know, they have attached themselves to these assumed consequences like curses. And then, you know, coupled with the high secrecy, you cannot get through into it.
Wow. And one last question, because we have just some limited time. The county government of Kajiado, together with other organization, but the county government passed an end FGM policy in December. I'm sorry, I don't know where the noise is coming from.
I also don't know.
All right, Dorcas, please mute your microphone. In that case.
The noise is still coming?
Yes.
I don't know. Or can I remove it?
It's okay. All right. I was asking, the county passed an end FGM policy in December 2019. Is there any evidence that it has improved things in terms of implementation from the government, allocation of funds, those things? As the passing of that policy really helped so far?
Am I clear, Jeremiah? Are you hearing me?
Yes, you are very clear.
Yeah, what I'm also hearing that. I haven't seen that document. As a media person, we haven't gotten anything from the cultural department of the county government. If it was passed, probably it is gathering dust in the shelves of the county government offices. We have had various fiscal years, financial years.
All right.
We haven't seen anywhere in those budgets where they have said this money is set aside maybe to fight these FGM, or even to educate people on why they should not practice this. What I feel is that the government, the county government, is not in it. If it passed, then that document is gaining dust somewhere. Or maybe they've been given out to organizations such as those being headed by my friend Parit.
Yeah,
and
and
others.
I think she's here to confirm to us if really there is that document, and if there are any initiatives that are being done in collaboration with the government to make sure that the girls are safe, especially after the passing of that policy. I think I'll just cut you short, Bonakurka. Thank you very much for joining us today. I do not know if you have one more thing to say, maybe in 2 sentences.
Well, as a media person and as an activist in my blood, I think we should take this matter seriously. Let us forget about losing votes.
Yeah.
Let us tell our people the truth.
Yeah.
What value do we get out of this?
Yeah.
These are cultural practices that are pulling us back instead of going forward.
Yeah.
I think that is what I can say.
Thank you very much for joining us as well. We really do appreciate having you here today. This is actually the 4th day we are having this, and it's a blessing to have such an honorable person joining us today. Thank you also for your service in journalism. It's not an easy job. Keep on doing what you do. Asante sana. We are just going to move on right now to other guests today. And before you leave, Kajiado News, Kajiado County News, is it an online or an offline a platform for people to find out if they want to see the cases that you've reported before?
Yeah, we are online as well as we publish newspapers, but at Kajiado County Kajiado News Update, we are purely online.
Okay.
And Parit published most of our work. She's doing quite some good job out there, single-handedly, and I wish the government should give her a hand actually in this. She's frustrated, but she has a golden heart. People can reach us on online. We are also on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Kurgat Marindany. I have so many followers in KNU page on Facebook and on our website. You can always log on to kajiado.co.ke, and then you can see some of our stories that we've done on FGM. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate having you here. We'll just go straight up, take a short break, a cup of water. Joining us will be more activists joining us from Kajiado, who will be giving us much more insight on what is happening in their parts. Thank you very much. I can see your chats coming in, and I'll just read them as we go on. I see Mukogodo Girls Empowerment says, I urge our Maasai people to stop being the slaves of the culture. Girls are subjected to the cut simply because of the culture state. Thank you very much. Keep on keep them coming on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube as well. We've been having Kurgat Marindany, who is the chief editor, Kajiado County Press. Asante sana for joining us today, Bwana Kurgat. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we will have Selina, we will have Jedi, and also Dorcas on this call. Asante sana. All right. As I had said earlier, thank you very much for joining us today. We are live right now. Still joining us on my left, I already see Jedida Lemaron. Thank you very much for joining in. Just urging everyone to leave a message on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter, and we will be able to read your comments. Remember that we are live now on those three platforms. Tony Mwebia is on. Antonia Sophia is also on, ready to answer your questions. Thank you very much for joining in from wherever you are at today. It's a beautiful 7th day of the month, and we are ready to roll in Kajiado. 3 sub-counties, 3 constituencies, right? 3 constituencies represented, and it's a ladies' day. We just had Mr. Kurgat Marindaj. He's left us for now. Joining us is Dorcas Parit and also Jedida Lemaron. Still one lady to come in, Selina Nkoile, who is from the southwest part of Kajiado, who will basically tell us what is happening at the border ward of Kenya. So thank you very much for joining us today. Just remember, tweet us, Facebook us, send a message on YouTube, and we will be able to respond to them, as you can see on the screen. Keep them coming, and I will definitely try to read them as much as I can. On Facebook, I already see people joining in. I see Mariam Sheikh. I see Catherine Tito. Welcome to the show. We really do appreciate having you here today. She says the vice has just to this vice just has to end. Thanks for the efforts. Mariam Sheikh says so. Peter Kemei says, following the conversation, KDHS 2014 shows about 78% prevalence of FGM among the Maasai. This combines Narok and Kajiado counties. Do we have county-based prevalence specific to Kajiado? That's a good question. Do we have a county-based prevalence to Kajiado? Catherine Tito Motian says, great initiative following from Narok. I see Kelvin Saita joined. Matilda Timpian, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much. Keep on joining. I see Wanjiru Wahome, Rosbel Lemaron. Another comment as we start off with the ladies, because they are all here now. Those who fear losing votes for talking about FGM, your fear is genuine. But use the fear to educate the masses. For example, keep talking about it. Remind people the value of girls, to stop hurting the girls, etc. Tell them if you lose votes for wanting to save girls, then so be it. You will take back the mantle from them. Thank you very much for that comment. Matilda Timpian says, well said. If political leaders would use their power to amplify voices of women and girls who are at risk of FGM, the same girls would stand up with them. I believe children's voices are a great endorsement to the leaders vying to represent us. So thank you very much for those comments. Keep them coming in, and we will read them as they come, as they stream in. Thank you very much. Now we go straight to the ground. I see on my top left, Selina, thank you very much for joining in. I know you have been in Narok today. It's a very tricky situation since Kajiado and Narok is almost indifferentiable for you. Now that mostly for you to access your part of Kajiado, you have to go through Narok. That's how far and remote that place could actually be. I know you shouldn't describe it that way, but thank you very much for joining in all the way from the southwestern part of this country. We really do appreciate. We'll just go straight to this. Where are you joining us from, Selina, since we had not said? Maybe I'm wrong. You might be in Nairobi.
I'm joining you from Narok. I live and work in both Narok and Kajiado, and in Mosiro village, to be precise. It's a very rural village in Kajiado West sub-county. Thank
you very much. Thank you very much for that, Selina. Thank you very much again for joining us as well. All right, we'll just go straight into this. As you can see on this panel today are ladies, and we are going to talk about issues regarding the girl child, and we will be having a representation from 3 sub-counties, as she had said, and on this we will be talking about what the current situation is like in Kajiado, because we have had cases where Kajiado, as just a neighboring county to Nairobi, has found itself. Some parts of actually Kajiado are inaccessible because some of them are in the metropolitan area. And so access to commodities is slowly becoming a challenge with the corona pandemic. But I'm very sure that we'll be able to talk and hear what the situation is like right now, and we will be able to find solutions. So straight to you, Selina. You have closed Naningoi, which is the school that you have been running under the your organization. Sorry, there's feedback somewhere. Another organization, Naningwe Primary School, which has been acting as a safe haven for the children around the Mosiro area. So the government has closed all such gatherings due to COVID-19. What does that mean to the girls?
Closing of the school, being the only boarding school and the only female focused center in a big region, really was a really big blow for the girls of Mosiro. And so this is the place where they were safe. This is a place where they called home. And now they have to go back to the homes that they were running away from due to child marriage, mostly, and FGM. So that really meant that their lives right now and their rights, they're in risk of their rights being violated.
Yeah. And you work in a place that's not very accessible in terms of connectivity, and I know that there are lots of challenges in regards to following up on how the girls are faring on during these times. Where are they, first of all? Because now they've gone home, but I am very sure, I know that there are girls that were not able to go back home because the parents actually did not consent to them going to Naningwing initially. Where are they right now?
So some of them, we were able to reconcile them back with the parents, because basically the whole school, half of the population are girls who ran away from their homes to come and look for an education and to come and look for a safe place that's free from violence. And some of them actually ran away from the first or the second husband after being married off. And these are children who are under the ages of 18 years. Mm-hmm. So some of them were lucky to go back to their parents, but unfortunately some of them we had to look for relatives to stay with them because it was not safe for them to go back to their parents.
And is it safe for them to stay with their relatives as well? Because I understand that relatives are relatives. They can always collaborate and with their parents and just take the girls back. How are you monitoring that?
So I have personally been following up with them by calling them and just ensuring that they're okay, and even sometimes sending them some food if they tell me that the issue is food. But I really can't say that they are 100% safe, but and just like crossing fingers that this all issue will be okay so that they can go back to school, but at the moment they are okay.
All right, I just crossed over to we say that Kajiado stretches off from Mosiro to Kilimanjaro. So we go to the Kilimanjaro region, Kimana, I'll say, where Hope Beyond is based. Karibu sana, Dorcas Parid. We do appreciate having you here today. What is the situation like in the south?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeremiah, and for inviting us to speak in this live broadcasting. So in Kajiado, Kimana, or Kajiado South, we are working, we have a great relationship with the law enforcement and security department in Kajiado in large. And we have really working hand to hand with them. And even we have gone with the patrols and house to house visit and educate our community in COVID-19 and to make sure the health and in our community, it is huge in large, it is okay, it is first priority and they are safe. So in our community during this pandemic we are having, we have managed to reconcile most of our girls, the ones that are in the rescue center, which some of them they're at home, but that's some of them they are still in the center because they cannot go back home because they are in risk, and then and they have cases in the court, so they cannot go back home. So those ones we have them in the center, and the ones they are at home, we have managed to go and visit them and make sure that they are safe and to chat with them and to make sure where they are safe. And because of that, I think in my side, having a good relationship with our community and a good relationship with the law enforcement, which it has really helped us so much to make sure our girls, wherever they are safe wherever they are.
Thank you very much, Dorcas. There are so many people saying that at this time the law enforcers or the law enforcement is taking on the corona pandemic. So I would assume that that's also the case in that area. What's really in focus right now? Is it FGM? Is it child marriage? Or everything still runs smoothly?
In our side, because of the working together with the authority, security, and it has really helped us to make sure we are working together as a team, and all CSOs and all stakeholders. We are working together. We have groups, WhatsApp. We are working together. Like today, our region commissioner was around and went to the border to make sure the case of the border. You know about the border, how it happened. Our guys to go there and do the practice the FGM, but because of the good relationship and the rain enforcement we have here in Kemana or Kajiado South, it has really helped us. Everyone, it is in toss, especially police and the chiefs and Nyumbakumi, all of us, we are down there making sure things are going very well. Even our girls, they are safe, our women, they are safe down there, and they are safe even for this pandemic. So what I can say in my case, it is just we need to make sure we work together, all stakeholders, everyone to work together, and we'll win this FGM. But the thing I want to say about this, what is happening, because it is in silent, and we have tried our best. So we want, even when this problem we have in the global, even in this country, it will be done. We need to go back again to schools to make sure all girls have been going back to school. Because
I think I'll cut short on that and just throw in one more question in that regard, because you're going to come back into that, what you're saying. The government has closed down institutions, and I know that Hope Beyond has been running for quite some time with rescued girls. What's the status right now?
Yes, we are
one
still
sentence.
running.
Yeah.
Okay, the status here, we are safe, and it is smooth, and the kids, they are safe here at Hope Beyond Center.
Yeah, okay. I'll just go down to Jedida, who I know is part of a group of CSOs that are also doing lots of work in Kajiado. Jedida, I know that there are so many organizations that are trying to restructure and adapt to the corona pandemic at this time, and lots of things are at stake, including people not being able to work and be able to provide the first services that they were providing before. What's the status like right now? I know, just a small introduction for those who do not know. Jedida is the founder and director, if I am correct, for the Malkia initiative. Welcome, Jedida.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah. Yes, I have been part of the CSOs working in Kajiado, and I am humbled and privileged to be at the core of that. I am the one who is representing the CSOs at the county level, and I think how we've structured in Kajiado is we have one big umbrella of CSOs, and then under this umbrella, then we have small task forces, one for vulnerable vulnerable people, so that will include children and women and the PWDs. Then we have one on SRHR, sexual reproductive health and rights. We have another one on sexual gender-based violence. So we have different task forces. We have a WASH task force. So in the different task forces, everyone is trying to address the different things that are pertinent to their work. So FGM then comes under SRHR, which is a task force that I'm actually convening, and we've had a couple of meetings. And in the last meeting that we had, the reports are very many of the organizations are now at home. They are unable to go to the field, but they are working very closely with the chiefs on the field. They are champions on the field. They're also working with the CHVs and the health centers, the health providers on the ground that makes the units. So far we've gotten a positive response. At least we've not gotten any case of FGM, but a few of child marriage. But you see, we cannot separate child marriage and FGM. We know one comes before the other.
And talking about that,
almost sure.
And talking about that, thank you very much. And talking about that, I'll go back to Selina. We've talked about FGM and child marriage, but we also have child pregnancies. I know in the Maasai culture we have something called Ntapai, and I think you'll be able to just explain that to us, what that is. What does it mean for a girl to become to have to be pregnant at this time, and what that means in terms of FGM in that community?
So in the Maasai community, it was in most families it was not allowed for a girl to get pregnant before being cut, because that means she becomes Ntapai. I don't think there's a word for that in English, but a lot of families really prohibit that, and that leads to many parents cutting their girls as young as even 9 or 10, so that they don't get pregnant before they are cut, because then it makes them even more vulnerable, and the child they give birth to becomes kind of an outcast in the society. So at this during this COVID-19 situation, a lot of mothers and fathers will try to protect their girls from getting into that mess by having them go through the cut, knowing or not knowing that it's still a violation of their right. It's a violation of their human rights and dignity. And during this time where everybody is at home and people might be idle or just staying at home, girls are at a higher risk of teenage pregnancies, or even getting cut just so that they don't become that.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight. So many girls are now at risk, as we had said. And in that regard, I just want to throw in a question to all of you, but I'll just start off with Dorcas. We've had cases where activists say that it's more difficult to report a case on FGM than it is to detect a case of child marriage and also child pregnancies. Why is that so? Or if actually that is true, why is that so?
I think I didn't hear you very well. I think when you were talking, I didn't hear everything you were saying. Can you start again?
I'm saying we've had reports that it's easier for people to identify the cases of child marriage faster than they would identify cases of FGM. Is that the case also in the South?
Yeah, it is the same case. Child marriage, it is higher than the FGM, because you get most of cases we have. We rescue a child who has forced marriage, and then after that, when they go to the hospital, and then the hospital, they're the one, the doctor will tell us if she has done FGM or not. So I think it is true.
All right, Selina, just back to you. What does that mean to you? Is that the case also in Mosiro?
I think for us, the case is a little bit different because I think FGM prevalence in Mosiro is very high. So for us, we know that any child who is married young or any child bride has gone through FGM.
All right.
All of them.
All of them.
Yes.
You are working with CSOs, Jedida, and CSOs are basically tackling different issues in different places, in different aspects. Which is the biggest problem that CSOs face now in regards to child protection? I know there are upcoming GBV cases. I know others do not have access to masks. But when you're talking about FGM specifically, what's the biggest problem that now organizations, especially in Kajiado Central, are facing?
I hope you're meaning in the time of COVID,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So in this recent days, we have seen. Actually the biggest problem right now is most of the people who are doing programs in Kajiado Central live outside Kajiado Central, or they live like probably in Kitengela, and we know that Kitengela is now part of the metropolitan and they cannot access Kajiado. Mm-hmm. So same case to the ones in Nairobi, they cannot access Kiserian and Kajiado West. Yeah. Also Kajiado South, most people cannot access it. And I think that is the biggest problem right now. As much as they'd want to intervene on some of these things, they would not actually get to the ground, but choose the people on the ground.
And that means that people have to seek permits to travel from high-risk COVID-19 areas like Nairobi to go down into communities?
Yes and no. Yes, that is actually what ought to be done if you want to travel. But I think also most of our organizations have closed down in these times. So most of them have been issued with not to travel. I don't want to call them warrants, but yes, the organizations have actually just told them not to go to the field.
Okay. Yes. So the journalist we had today here, Kurgat Marina, and I'm just going to bring this to us because we are on the ground as well. He spoke about what the government is actually doing, because you know that Kajiado County is actually the first county to pass a policy against FGM. And we have been following up on things like the ICPD, trying to see ICDP, trying to see what the county actually has planned in terms of budget, in terms of programming, to give access to people like you who are working on the ground to try to help these guys in the fight against FGM. Is the government really involved in this? And I start off with Dorcas.
Yes, the government in our side, I will talk especially in South. Every week we participate in security meetings, briefing, where the law enforcement team gives the report on what is happening on all areas.
Yeah.
They give us a scoop of what is happening where and what we should be done to tighten our effort in eradicating FGM, child marriage, and preventing COVID-19 in our county.
So, on your case, who is government on your case? Because we know that places like Mosiro, for example, I was talking to someone from Mosiro, and they're like, we do not even have a police station. And maybe Selina could confirm that. So, who is government to you? Is it Nyumba Kumi? Is it the chief? Is it the police? Who is it?
The government I'm talking about, it is our county commissioner, our deputy commissioner, our OSPD, OCS, chiefs, all chiefs, and Nyumba Kumi. But all of them, we are working together in this. We have come together and make sure we are working together. So just tell you about our every week meeting which we attend to give all a briefing about what is happening in our areas and all our community. So you get the ones they are doing this work because it is our law enforcement team.
So
Because
it's basically the office of the president. It's basically the office of the president.
Yes, the office of the president.
All right. So let me just cut you short there. Thank you very much for that insight, because we've had, we were looking at, and we've been having a conversation about this for a long time now, the involvement of politicians in regards to FGM and other issues that affect the children. And as Marian Sheikh had clearly said here, that sometimes it's true, people could lose votes because they might feel like politicians are going to lose their seats. Celine, I'm just going to throw this question down to you. What is it like happening in Mosiro? Do you have any support from the government? Who is government? Who is supporting you in regards to maybe reporting cases, maybe social influence as well?
So for us in Mosiro, sometimes it's really tough because it's like we're in the middle of nowhere, because we are very far from our county government offices and everything else. Because basically for you to come to Mosiro, you have to pass through like 4 counties to just come to Mosiro, and we're in Kajiado County. So for us, we mostly liaise with our local leaders, the chiefs and the youth leaders and the village elders, because we don't have a police station. We only have a Kenya Wildlife Station, and these are the people who really sometimes help us when we have issues, and they will take us to the nearest police station, which is in Narok County, and most of the time we don't even get the help we need. So for us, we don't feel like the government has been really focusing on our girls and women, because in the first place, I don't think that institution would have been closed down, and it's the only institution in the whole world. So you can imagine if there was any politician or government official that really had the matters of these children in their hearts, they would stand up and provide the necessary equipment that these girls need to remain in school, so that they are safe, so that their lives are not at danger when they go back at home. So for us, we really feel like sometimes we think they forget about us just because we are too far to be reached. And also, most of the people, like from 30 years and above, are not educated. Like I can say 95%. So all these online interventions or media or even phones, it's really hard for us to get the information, and then it means we are being left behind. So for me, I would say not really.
I'll just throw this back to Dorcas. I'm sorry. You come from around the governor's area, and the journalist has just said that that area actually has a very high prevalence of FGM in comparison to many other areas. He said the area of Linkism, and just not to politicize this, but with the statistics that are going, is it even viable now to monitor that in such remote areas?
Yeah, I think about politician. I'm not talking about politician because the politician, you know them. They you know them even the way they talk. And yeah, for me, what I can say in our side, in Langisim, where it is a hotspots for the FGM and child marriage, we are working together with the ACC county. Assistant county commissioner there is new, and even 1 month ago we have managed to rescue a girl there who she was married when she was 9 years. So and we are working together now to make sure that area, we're working with all leaders there and make sure with the chief this problem we have of FGM and child marriage to stop there. So it is all our effort, everyone, whoever, even the legacy. We have people, youth, they are educated. We have so many people. So it is all our responsibility as community to come together to stop this. Because we cannot just rely on one, like a government, like we say, we rely on a chief. Like recently, there's a gap there because there's the chief he was there. I think he's no more. So what I can say to our people who are listening to us in those areas in Lengisi, we need to work together in this, and it will stop. Because I believe that the direction which government and our president say, we make sure we end this by 2022. We'll end this because of working together with the youth, working together with everyone in community, having good relationship with all stakeholders who have are campaigning about this, and it will end.
Thank you very much. I'm just looking at comments on this side. I see Millie says other FGM practicing counties should follow the footsteps of Kajiado. I think she was talking about the policy. Catherine says also we need to push for county-based FGM policies that will play a big role. And I also see people are joining in. I see Valentine joining in from the UK. Someone else joining from the UK. I can't read all these comments right now, but just remember you can still have a conversation. My team is still answering your questions live on Facebook, on Twitter, and also you can leave your chat on YouTube, and then we'll be able to respond as well. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm just going to go down deep into the policy now, because I think that's a very crucial thing, because I also heard that many people are trying to understand how this works and why is it important, because most of us actually do not know what a policy means. We have been talking about community engagement, and there has been a conversation about balancing community engagement with law enforcement. Where we are now, I had mentioned that sometimes these documents are not available in terms of maybe planning, like the county integrated county development plan, CIDP. I keep on confusing it with ICPD. So having access to those documents is sometimes a big problem in that case. And I would like to know from you, first of all, do you have access to that? And if you do, because I see people are saying that it's an important document to have, what impact does it have in the work that you are doing in the grassroots, not just during COVID-19, but even after, or even before as well? I'll throw that question to Dorcas again, and then to Jedida, because I know Dorcas has been involved in this.
Yes, this policy of Kajiado County policy, it has really helped us so much. We are working together with our partner Equality Now, which they have been a big help to us, and to make sure the system and structure are working in the county and also so together. And this our policy, Kajiado County policy, we started last year. And we have done a lot of meetings in our community, and all police department and chiefs, they have the in hand the policy. So we are now implementing the policy, but because of now this problem we have of COVID-19, it has stopped a lot of things, because I'm one of the been elected to nominated to be in committee steering of Kajiado South, which we were supposed to have a meeting now to see how we can now implement to have other committees in the small areas, But now, because of this COVID-19, it has really, things have gone down because of that. Now there's no meeting you can do, there's slow down. But what I can say about the Kajiado policy, everything, even people are talking to Mosiro, people are talking to Samburu about what is happening in the ground, grassroots, all of them, they are in that policy. It is really helping to reach the grassroots, the problem they have, and to make sure the government, the county government implemented it, it has been done. So it was in the process, and because of this, just things have become slow.
I think I'll cut you short because clearly we not everyone is able to access the policy. So maybe we would also seek to find ways within which governments are able to avail these documents clearly to the public. So thank you very much for that contribution.